G-Bear here, another installment of Homesteading the Desert, the day before Thanksgiving. Well, today I spent my time doing all my running around to the stores and things like that. And one of the main things I had to do was try to find Leslie's pool, because what we're looking at here is the cover to my sediment filter that I'm going to be putting on. And this is actually a recycled jacuzzi filter, cartridge filter. And you see the screw that I put down in here, and that's a rubber washer. And yes, the screw is long, but it is stainless steel, so it won't corrode. And I'm going to be putting some epoxy down at the bottom down there where the screw comes through, so it can't vibrate and unscrew. And the screw being there won't hurt anything. Now all this is there was a rubber valve, one-way valve type thing that just went through there and plugged in with a little rubber tip on it. Well, that thing had dried up and corroded from the chlorine over the years, and that one-way valve was gone. So what would have happened was, this is the inlet, the water would have came right down that, straight in that inlet and gone straight through the outlet without going through the filter. So what this is supposed to do is the water comes in this way where my finger is, and then it would be deflected because it can't go anywhere, and it would come down and go through the pleated filter, which is standing up over there to the left. And then it would come up through the center of the filter after it broke out all of the debris and go out through this center hole, which then comes out the outlet side. Well, it's all repaired now except for the epoxy, and I do have some marine epoxy right here that I will be putting on there because it's going to be constantly underwater. I probably could have just blocked that hole off with any glue and any piece of plastic over it, because that's the reason they have that little valve there, the little bypass valve, is when you're running a pump on one of these, and if the water pressure going inward here gets too high, well, it would blow the filter off because it has no way to relieve pressure. So they gave that little valve in there so it would relieve pressure and just go do a bypass and go right out. Of course, that eliminates the filtration, but it's better than having the thing explode on you from being under pressure. So since this is going to be gravity fed, and I'm going to probably have a maximum of anywhere from 8 to 12 psi coming out of that tank on gravity, that little valve right there should never actually activate, and it'll be fine. And let me show you what I bought to do it with. Here's a little rubber washer that I found at the Home Depot, and a stainless washer that I put around the outside here to give it a little more rigidity, because these things are real flimsy. Okay, and then I got some stainless screws here, and I thought these 1032s would fit, but I found out they didn't. So I went into my container and looked through my screw assortments, and I found this big old stainless wood screw, and I tried it, and it threaded itself in perfectly, and I've got a good grip on it. And actually I could have tightened it too much and it would have opened up that ring valve because it was pulled down too tight. So this is going to go get glued on right now so that I can put my water pipe from the tank down to the cabin tomorrow. I will be digging and trenching all day long by hand. And you think that sounds like a lot of work? Well, it probably will be. But I just went up there a little while ago with a pick and a shovel, a trenching shovel, and I dug about 8 feet in 10 minutes. So it won't be that bad. I've only got 80 feet to go. So it's going to take me, if I work steady, probably 2 hours to get that trench done. But I'll be taking breaks and taking it easy, not killing myself on Thanksgiving. Here's another item I bought today. This big old yellow cover goes on top of this plastic tote. This is a 55-gallon plastic tote. And guess what? I tried it. I sat down in there, and it comes right up to my armpits when I'm sitting in there. Well, I could put 20 gallons of water in that, nice hot water, and take a bath. And Then when I want to drain it out, I'll use my little transfer pump and I'll just drain it right into the sink. Because where I'm planning on putting that on the cold winter nights is I'll take my table down, take my chair away, and I'll put it right here in front of the sink where I can sit like right here in a hot bath and watch TV. Now, one thing I did do was these pull-out faucets, they come with a weight that you put on that hose under the sink so that it helps pull it back. Well, I didn't put that thing on there, so you can see I can pull this thing out all the way to where it's going to be right over me in the tub, and I'll be able to shower off my hair and stuff like that with nice water coming from the sink. The only thing about not having the weight is you got to push this thing back in by hand. No big deal. It was that easy. So I wanted to show you that. And you see a couple of pictures of water here. That's because I was running a little low on my drinking water in that container. The one that was up there, that's down there now. So I put the new full one up there, and then I went and filled this one down there today and over at Winco Foods. And now I have 10 gallons plus this gallon plus that little unit right there. And I'll use that for coffee and drinking water tonight and tomorrow, and that'll all be gone. So I wanted to show you that part. And we're at 13.2 right now, 3:30, about the same as yesterday. Good charging, hardly any wind at all. It's kind of amazing. If you look at the shirts over there on the line, they're just barely moving. That's not a bear joke. So anyway, I'll show you what I did here this morning. I laid out my 1-inch line coming down from the tank. As you can see, that's 100 feet of 1-inch poly line, and that will tie into the tank filter up there, and it's going to come down right to this point right here, and I'll put a T in down there, a reducer from 1 inch to 3/4, and then a T, so that all of this will be connected. But then I'm going to put a ball valve right here so I can shut the water off that's up here in the shower. It'll still work in the shower and in the outdoor sink, but it won't go to the cabin anymore. So I'll have this water kind of reserved just for showering and brushing teeth outside on the nice warm days, things like that. And then the other water right here, of course, will come straight down and go into the cabin, and that'll give me my water so I can fill my tub when I want to. I figured that if I use 20 gallons of water in there, I can fill that tub 125 times with what's in the tank out there. Well, most of the time I'll be taking showers, but every now and then soaking in a nice hot tub is just really good for you, and I love it. So I'll be doing that once a week or so, and the rest of the time will be showers. Anyway, I was telling you about yesterday about this rain barrel, and I got that set up now. It is piped into the rain barrel. And I got my garden hose hooked on there, runs down around the cabin, like I said, over to the grapevine. So when I put 20 gallons or so, I don't even need 20 gallons. I could get away with 8 gallons or 5 gallons of water if I use the spray and just spray myself, soap up, and then spray myself off. So when I do pump that into the sink, that bathtub into the sink, it'll come into this barrel, and then this will be gray water, which will go into irrigation. So everything gets reused. That's one of the important things of homesteading, is try to have as little waste as possible. And when I get my solar distiller out here, I will run a lot of this gray water through the distiller and take the soaps and that stuff out, and then I can re-add that back into the clean water shower tanks, because everything's out of it. It's distilled water, and nothing wrong with taking a shower in distilled water. You just don't want to drink a lot of distilled water, because it'll leach and deplete your body of all of the minerals that you're supposed to have in your body. So that's where I'm at. And as you can see, when I first started here this morning, I dug about 6 feet down here just to see how the digging would go. And then I scraped a imaginary line up here with my shovel. And we'll get up there in a second and I'll show you what's going on. And here's my trench, my pick and my shovel. And oh, that's probably 10 feet, a 10-foot run right there. And so now I'm going to glue my filter into place and get all of that ready so that I can hook that line on there and stretch it out a little bit more so that the thing straightens out. You can see that end down there straightened out pretty good, but there's still a couple of loops and swirls here. I want to get those out of it, so I can't do it until I hook it up to where it's going to go and it doesn't move. So I'll get that going and work from there, and that'll be part of the next video along with some other things that I'm doing. I'll show you those as they come up. G Bear signing off. Got to get back to digging.